The huge alien ship floated above Earth like a dark metal mountain in space. Admiral Han Sol watched it from his office window on the space station, Aurora. The ship was so big it blocked out part of the sun when it passed between Earth and the bright star. Han Sol had been an admiral for 20 years. He had seen wars and battles and dangerous situations, but nothing had prepared him for this. The aliens had arrived 3 days ago without warning. Their ship just appeared in Earth's orbit. Like magic one moment. The space around Earth was empty the next moment. This massive vessel was hanging there, waiting. Dr. Yoon Ah walked into Han Sol's office carrying a tablet. Her face was pale and her hands were shaking. She had just returned from the alien ship where she had met with the creatures from another world. As Earth's best scientist who studied life from other planets, she had been chosen to make first contact with the visitors. The meeting had not gone well. Yuna sat down in the chair across from Han Sol's desk and took a deep breath before speaking. The aliens call themselves the Galactic Council, she said quietly. They represent 47 different species from across 3 parts of the galaxy. They have been watching Earth for many years. Han Sol leaned forward in his chair. What do they want? He asked, though he already suspected the answer would not be good. They want us to surrender, Yoon. Ah replied. Her voice was barely above a whisper. They say humans are too dangerous to be allowed to travel to other worlds. They want us to give up all our weapons, destroy our armies, and let them govern Earth. They call it protective custody for young species. The words hit Han Sol like a physical blow. He stood up and walked to the window again, looking out at the alien ship. The creatures inside that vessel had traveled across the galaxy to tell humanity that they were not fit to rule themselves. It was the ultimate insult. How long do we have? Han Sol asked. 72 hours, Yoon Ah answered. They say if we do not agree, they will use force to make us comply. Han Sol felt anger building in his chest. But he kept his voice calm. What did you tell them? I told them I would deliver their message to Earth's leaders, Yoon Ah said. But Han Sol, their technology is incredible. Their ship is powered by energy sources we do not understand. Their weapons could destroy entire cities in seconds. How can we possibly fight them? The alien ambassador had been a tall, thin creature with 6 arms and skin that looked like purple crystal. It had spoken to Yoon Ah in perfect English, which had been disturbing enough. The fact that it had learned human language suggested they had been studying Earth for a very long time. The creature had explained that the Galactic Council was like a parent organization for all intelligent life in the galaxy. When new species were discovered, the Council evaluated them to see if they were ready to join galactic civilization. Most species were not ready and needed guidance. According to the alien, humans were particularly problematic. Earth had constant wars between nations. Humans fought over resources, territory, and ideas. The Council had observed human history and concluded that humanity was too aggressive and unpredictable to be trusted with space travel. The alien had shown Yoon Ah images of other worlds that had been brought under Council protection. These planets were peaceful, their populations were happy, and there were no more wars or conflicts. The Council provided technology, medicine, and guidance in exchange for complete obedience. It sounds wonderful, the alien had said. If you ignore the fact that these species no longer controlled their own destinies. Han Sol walked back to his desk and activated his communication system, connecting him to military leaders around the world. Within minutes, screens lit up showing generals, admirals, and defense ministers from every major nation. General Mina appeared from Seoul, Colonel Petrov from Moscow, Admiral Chen from Beijing, and dozens of others. The alien ultimatum was translated into every language and broadcast to every military installation on Earth. The reaction was immediate and predictable. Human military leaders did not respond well to threats. General Mina was the first to speak. Her voice was cold as winter steel. They want us to surrender our weapons and submit to their authority, she said. Do they understand what they are asking? They understand perfectly, Han Sol replied. They have done this to 46 other species. Every single one submitted without a fight. They expect us to do the same. Colonel Petrov laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. They have seriously underestimated human nature, he said. We have never submitted to anyone in our entire history. Why would we start now? The discussion continued for hours. Military leaders shared intelligence about the alien ship. Scientists provided technical analysis about their technology. Politicians debated the diplomatic implications. But underneath all the talk, everyone knew what was really happening. Humanity was being told they were children who needed adult supervision. The most independent, warlike, stubborn species in the galaxy was being informed that they could not be trusted to make their own decisions. It was possibly the worst mistake the Galactic Council had ever made. President Tai Ho joined the conference from his secure bunker beneath Seoul. His face appeared on screens around the world as he addressed the assembled leaders. "The aliens think they know us," he said, "but they have made a critical error. They have studied our wars, our conflicts, our apparent chaos, and concluded that we are simply another aggressive species that needs to be controlled." The president paused, looking directly into the camera. "What they do not understand is that our greatest strength has never been our technology or our weapons. It is our absolute refusal to kneel to anyone." The moment they delivered their ultimatum, they united 7 billion humans behind a single cause. Reports were already coming in from around the world. Protests were erupting in every major city, but they were not protests of fear or despair. They were rallies of defiance. Signs reading "Earth belongs to humans" appeared in dozens of languages. Military recruitment offices reported lines of volunteers stretching for blocks. The aliens had expected their ultimatum to create panic and submission. Instead, it had awakened, something that had been sleeping in the human spirit since the first cave dweller looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. Yuna watched the news feeds on her tablet showing the global response. People were not hiding in their homes, waiting for salvation. They were gathering in public spaces demanding that their governments fight back. The species that had never agreed on anything were now united by a single burning purpose. Han Sol stood at his window again, looking out at the alien ship. The countdown had begun, but it was not counting down to Earth's surrender. It was counting down to the moment when the Galactic Council would learn that they had made the worst mistake in their collective history. They had threatened the one species in the galaxy that had built their entire civilization on the principle that freedom was worth any price, including extinction. The aliens wanted protective custody, but humans had never needed protection from anyone. In 72 hours, the galaxy would discover what happened when you tried to cage the most dangerous predators in known space. General Mi-na stood in the underground command center beneath the mountains of South Korea. The room hummed with activity, as officers from every nation worked together for the first time in human history. The threat of alien domination had accomplished something no treaty or agreement had ever managed: complete global cooperation. The holographic displays showed Earth from space surrounded by tactical information. The alien ship hung in orbit, like a giant metal spider waiting for humanity to surrender. But the humans below were not preparing for surrender. They were preparing for war. Mi-na looked at the data streaming across her screens. 48 hours remained until the alien deadline. Every military installation on Earth was reporting the same thing. Weapon systems were being activated. Personnel were being recalled from leave. Strategic reserves were being moved into position. Major Dongwu approached Mi-na with a tablet full of intelligence reports. "General, all stealth platforms are operational and maintaining radio silence," he said. "The aliens are scanning continuously, but their sensors are looking for technology similar to their own. They cannot detect our systems." This was the secret humanity had been keeping for decades. While the world had appeared to focus on civilian space exploration and peaceful scientific research, military scientists had been developing weapons and defense systems in complete secrecy. Hidden facilities across the planet had been preparing for exactly this scenario, not specifically for alien invasion, but for any threat that might challenge Earth's independence. The human military had always operated on one simple principle: be ready for anything. Dr. Kyung-ho activated another holographic display showing detailed scans of the alien vessel. "We have identified their command structure," he reported. "They use a hierarchy system with clear chains of authority. Remove the command ships and the rest will operate on outdated orders." The alien Ship was impressive, but it followed patterns that human military analysts recognized. The creatures from the Galactic Council had built their civilization around cooperation and peaceful expansion. They had never encountered an enemy that studied warfare as a science captain. Su Jin reported from her position aboard the stealth destroyer Incheon, which was hiding in Earth's shadow, invisible to alien sensors, target acquired and locked. She said, "All stealth ships are in position. They still do not know we are here." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. While the aliens waited for humanity's surrender, expecting fear and submission, Earth's military forces had spent the past day positioning themselves for a coordinated strike. The alien ship hung in space like a sitting target, completely unaware that dozens of human vessels surrounded it. President Tae-ho appeared on the secure communication channel from his bunker. "The world is watching, General," he said. "Every nation has pledged their full support. This is not about any single country anymore. This is about the right of humanity to determine its own destiny." Admiral Han Sol coordinated with the lunar bases where humanity's most advanced defensive systems waited in perfect camouflage. The moon's surface, scarred by millions of years of meteor impacts, hid launch platforms that could deploy weapons the aliens had never encountered. Human military doctrine had always emphasized adaptability and unpredictability. The generals and admirals who had spent their careers preparing for war against other humans had developed tactics that alien science could not predict or counter. Lieutenant Commander Bo Ram led her fighter squadron from a position near the asteroid belt. Her ships were disguised as space debris, their engines cold and their weapon systems powered down but ready to activate in seconds. "Command, this is Wolfpack Leader," she reported. "All fighters are in position and ready for immediate deployment." The aliens had made their assessment of human military capability based on observable technology. They had seen Earth's nuclear weapons, conventional armies, and basic space defense systems. What they had not seen were the black projects, the secret developments, the hidden capabilities that human governments had been building for decades. Colonel Jin Woo monitored the situation from his facility beneath the Gobi Desert, where humanity had constructed railgun installations capable of accelerating projectiles to incredible velocities. The aliens had no idea these weapons existed because they were buried deep underground and had never been tested where alien sensors could detect them. The beauty of the human response was not just in the advanced technology, but in the psychology behind it. Every human commander understood that the key to victory was not just superior firepower, but superior thinking. The aliens expected humans to react with fear and panic. Instead, they were about to encounter the most coordinated military operation in human history. Dr. Yuna worked frantically to decode alien communication protocols. From her position on Aurora Station, she monitored every transmission from the alien ship. "Their communications are heavily encrypted," she reported, "but we are beginning to understand their command structure. They have never encountered a species that refused their ultimatum." The alien ship continued its slow orbit around Earth, its crew probably discussing how to handle humanity's inevitable surrender. They had given ultimatums to 46 other species, and every single one had submitted within the deadline. The Galactic Council had no experience with defiance on this scale. General Mina reviewed the final attack plans. Every human military unit, from the stealth ships hiding in Earth's shadow to the deep space interceptors disguised as satellites, had received their orders. The timing had to be perfect. The coordination had to be flawless. Major Dong-woo reported the latest intelligence. "The aliens have positioned themselves in a standard diplomatic formation," he said. "They are not prepared for combat. Their weapon systems are powered down, and their defensive shields are at minimum strength." This was exactly what human military planners had hoped for. The aliens were so confident in their superiority that they had not bothered to take basic defensive precautions. They floated in Earth's orbit like conquerors, surveying their new territory completely unaware that they were surrounded by predators. Captain Hyun Woo commanded the cruiser Seoul from its position near the dark side of the moon. "All weapons systems are charged and ready," he reported. "Targeting solutions are locked in. We are ready to execute on your command." The final hours before the deadline were filled with tense preparation. Human forces positioned themselves with the precision of a clockwork mechanism. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier knew exactly what they were supposed to do, and when they were supposed to do it. The aliens had expected to find a primitive, chaotic species begging for mercy. Instead, they had awakened something that had been sleeping in the human spirit for millennia. The absolute refusal to surrender to anyone regardless of the odds. Na looked at the countdown timer showing the time remaining until the alien deadline. 18 hours, she announced to the assembled commanders. In 18 hours we show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens Earth. The alien ship continued its orbit, unaware that it was about to become the target of the most devastating surprise attack in galactic history. The Galactic Council was about to learn that there were consequences to underestimating humanity. Defiance was complete. The trap was set. The aliens had given Earth an ultimatum expecting submission. Instead, they had given humanity the perfect opportunity to demonstrate why their planet had never been successfully conquered by anyone. The countdown continued, but it was not counting down to surrender, it was counting down to the moment when the balance of galactic power would shift forever. The attack came from everywhere at once. Captain Su Jin watched her targeting computer lock onto the alien flagship as her stealth destroyer dropped its invisibility field. The massive alien vessel hung in space, like a giant metal whale, completely unaware that death was approaching from all directions. For 36 hours, the alien ship had floated peacefully in Earth's orbit, while its crew waited for humanity to surrender. The aliens had no idea that dozens of human warships had been moving into position around them like sharks circling their prey. Su Jin pressed the firing button and watched as her ship's most powerful torpedoes streaked through space toward their target. The weapons had been designed specifically for this moment, combining human engineering with decades of research into how to destroy things as efficiently as possible. The first torpedo struck the alien ship's hull and exploded with a flash of light that could be seen from Earth. The alien vessel shuddered as its shields flared and failed under the impact. But this was only the beginning. All around the alien ship, human vessels materialized out of empty space. Admiral Han Sol had coordinated the attack to achieve maximum surprise and confusion. Every human ship fired at exactly the same moment, turning the peaceful orbital space around Earth into a battlefield. The alien flagship tried to turn and bring its weapons to bear, but it was far too late. Lieutenant Commander Bo Ram led her fighter squadron in a strafing run along the alien ship's hull. Her pilots had trained for this moment their entire careers, and they executed the attack with deadly precision. The alien ship was huge and heavily armored, but it had been designed by creatures who solved problems through negotiation and careful planning. They had never encountered an enemy that struck first without warning and never gave them a chance to respond. Major Dong Wu monitored the battle from his command center, watching as human weapons tore through alien defenses that had never been tested in real combat. "The alien ship is losing power," he reported. "Their main engines are offline and their communication systems are failing." General Mina watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The alien vessel was not poorly designed, but it had been built by civilizations that had never faced an enemy like humanity. The creatures of the Galactic Council had spent thousands of years believing that overwhelming technological superiority was enough to win any conflict. They had never met humans. Colonel Jin Wu activated the railgun installations hidden beneath the Gobi Desert. The massive weapons launched projectiles at velocities that made alien point defense systems completely useless. The kinetic strikes hit their targets before the enemy sensors could even detect the incoming rounds. The alien ship tried to broadcast a surrender signal, but Captain Hun Wu had anticipated this. His electronic warfare systems jammed all alien communications, leaving the enemy vessel isolated and unable to coordinate any kind of response. Within 20 minutes, the alien flagship was a drifting wreck, its hull cracked open like an egg and its crew evacuating in small escape pods. The ship that had come to Earth carrying an ultimatum for humanity's surrender was now floating debris in the very space it had tried to claim. But the human attack was not finished. Admiral Han Sol had planned this operation to send a very specific message to the Galactic Council. Every alien who survived would carry back the news that Earth was not a planet of primitives, waiting to be conquered. The smaller alien vessels that had been hidden behind the flagship tried to escape, but they found themselves facing human ships that seemed to appear from nowhere. Lieutenant Park Min-ho led a squadron of interceptors that caught the fleeing aliens before they could reach the edge of the solar system. Dr. Yuna monitored alien communications from her position on Aurora Station. Their command structure has completely collapsed, she reported. Individual ships are requesting permission to retreat, but there is no one left to give orders. The psychological impact of the human attack was even more devastating than the physical damage the aliens had expected to face primitive weapons and desperate last stands. Instead, they encountered a coordinated military operation that destroyed their forces before they could even understand what was happening. Captain Su-jin pursued the surviving alien vessels as they tried to escape toward Mars. Her stealth destroyer could move faster and strike harder than anything the aliens had ever encountered. "This is what happens when you threaten Earth," she said over the communication channel as her weapons found their targets. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the space around Earth was filled with the wreckage of alien ships that had come to impose the will of the Galactic Council. The creatures who had expected to find submission had instead discovered that humanity was the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Admiral Han Sol broadcast a message on all frequencies that alien civilizations monitored. To the members of the Galactic Council, he said, "Earth has received your ultimatum and responded accordingly. Any future attempt to threaten human sovereignty will result in the complete destruction of your military forces." The first strike was complete, but it was only the beginning. The aliens had learned that humanity would not surrender, but they had not yet learned the full extent of human military capability. General Mina looked at the tactical displays showing the scattered alien survivors, trying to flee the solar system. "Let them run," she said. "They will carry our message back to their masters." The Galactic Council wanted to know what humans were capable of. Now they know. The age of alien dominance over galactic affairs had ended in the space of a single hour. The species that had controlled 3 galaxy arms for thousands of years had been humbled by creatures they had dismissed as primitive and chaotic. But the war was far from over. The real test would come when the Galactic Council realized that their greatest military force had been destroyed by the very species they had tried to subjugate. The survivors fleeing toward the outer planets carried with them the news that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Forever Earth had fired the first shot and it had been devastating. Now the question was whether the aliens would be smart enough to stay away, or foolish enough to send reinforcements. Either way, humanity was ready. The destruction of the main alien fleet was only the beginning. General Mina stood in the command center watching tactical displays that showed the locations of surviving alien vessels scattered across the solar system. The creatures who had come to Earth expecting easy conquest were now running for their lives. 12 escape pods and 6 damaged ships were attempting to reach the outer edge of the solar system where they could send messages back to their homeworlds. Mina had no intention of allowing any of them to escape. The message that Earth sent to the Galactic Council would be delivered by survivors, but only the survivors that humanity chose to spare. Captain Hyun-woo reported from his position aboard the cruiser Seoul. "We have confirmed tracking on all enemy contacts." "Orders, General, hunt them down," Mina replied without hesitation. "No alien vessel leaves this system unless we allow it. The galaxy needs to understand that threatening Earth has consequences." What followed was a systematic demonstration of human military efficiency that impressed even Earth's own commanders. The scattered alien survivors found themselves being pursued by ships that could appear from empty space strike with perfect accuracy and vanish. Before any return fire could be organized, Commander Yoon-ji led a squadron of stealth fighters through the asteroid belt where 3 alien escape craft were trying to hide among the rocky debris. The human ships moved through the asteroid field, like deadly ghosts, using the gravitational fields and magnetic interference to mask their approach. The alien vessels were broadcasting desperate distress signals toward the outer galaxy, hoping that someone would receive their warnings about the dangerous species they had encountered. But human electronic warfare specialists were jamming most of their transmissions, ensuring that only carefully selected messages would reach alien space. Lieutenant Commander Bo-ram intercepted 2 alien ships near the orbit of Mars. The enemy vessels were pushing their engines beyond safe limits, trying to escape the solar system before human forces could catch them. But human technology was superior in every way that mattered. The alien ships had been designed by civilizations that valued efficiency and resource conservation. Human ships had been designed by a species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of hunting and killing their enemies. The difference in philosophy was reflected in the capabilities of their respective technologies. Der Kyung-ho established interrogation protocols for the alien prisoners that humanity was taking. The process was not torture or brutality, but something far more effective: psychological warfare. Human interrogators simply explained the mathematical reality of the situation. Your fleet has been destroyed. Your commanders are dead, and your technology is inferior to ours. The human officers told their captives, "You have exactly two choices. Provide information about Galactic Council military capabilities, or be returned to space in your damaged ships to think about your options." The aliens found this approach both terrifying and incomprehensible. Every other species they had encountered had either submitted immediately or fought desperately until they were completely destroyed. Humans seemed to treat warfare as a precise science with rules and procedures that could be adjusted based on desired outcomes. Lieutenant Park Min-ho coordinated the deep space pursuit missions tracking alien vessels as they tried to reach Jupiter and the outer planets. His ships used sensor technology that could detect enemy vessels across astronomical distances while remaining completely invisible to alien detection systems. The human pursuit ships were technological marvels that combined stealth systems, quantum engines, and weapons platforms into vessels that alien science considered impossible. Human military development had taken paths that the Galactic Council had never explored because they had never needed to perfect the art of hunting. Intelligent prey, Commander Yujin caught the final alien vessel in the shadow of Jupiter's Great Red Spot. The enemy ship was badly damaged, its hull cracked and its atmosphere leaking into space. The alien crew had made one last desperate attempt to transmit a warning to their home worlds. Before human interceptors arrived, unknown alien vessel, this is Commander Yujin of the Earth Defense Force. You are ordered to surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded, she announced over the communication channel. The alien response came in broken English transmitted through their failing systems. "Please, we surrender, no more killing. We understand. Now humans are dangerous. We will tell Council to stay away." But surrender was not enough. The survivors that humanity allowed to escape would carry a very specific message back to the Galactic Council. The aliens needed to understand that Earth was not just capable of defending itself, but was actively dangerous to anyone who threatened human independence. Each surviving alien would return to their homeworlds with the same story. A species they had dismissed as primitive had destroyed their most advanced military force using technology and tactics that alien science could not explain or counter. The psychological impact would be far more devastating than any physical destruction when the final alien vessel was secured and its crew taken into custody. Admiral Han Sol prepared the message that would be transmitted to every world in Galactic Council space. The communication was simple, direct and terrifying in its implications. To the civilizations of the Galactic Council, Earth has received your ultimatum and responded accordingly. Your military force has been eliminated with minimal human casualties. Any future attempt to threaten human sovereignty will result in the complete destruction of your forces. The hunt was complete, but the demonstration was not over. The aliens who had been allowed to survive would spend the rest of their lives telling other species about the day they encountered humanity. The psychological warfare would continue long after the last shots were fired. Mina looked at the tactical displays showing the clean sweep of the solar system. Every alien threat had been eliminated or captured. The space around Earth was secure and the message had been sent. The galaxy would learn that humanity was not a species to be conquered or controlled. The hunt had been perfect, but it was only the beginning. Now came the most important part: establishing the new rules that would govern human relations with alien civilizations. The Age of Galactic. Council dominance was over. The age of human independence had begun. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Ambassador Wu Sung sat in a meeting room aboard the space station Harmony built in the neutral zone between Earth and Mars. Across from him sat a delegation of alien representatives who had once demanded humanity's surrender now. They waited nervously for Earth's terms. The power dynamic had shifted so completely that the creatures who had delivered ultimatums were now begging for negotiations. The Galactic Council had sent their most experienced diplomats, beings who had negotiated treaties with dozens of species across 3 galaxy arms. None of their experience had prepared them for dealing with humans. The terms are simple. Wu Sung began, his voice calm, but carrying the authority of a species that had proven it could not be conquered. Earth will be recognized as a fully sovereign world with complete authority over the Sol system. Any alien vessel entering our space without explicit permission will be destroyed without warning. The lead alien negotiator was a creature called Harmony of Deep Waters. It had multiple limbs and skin that changed colors based on its emotional state. Right now, it was showing patterns that human xenobiologists had learned indicated extreme anxiety. Honored, human representative, surely some accommodation can be reached, the alien said through its translation device. The Council has governed galactic affairs for many thousands of years. There must be some framework for cooperation between our civilizations. General Mina attended the negotiations as Earth's military representative. Her presence was a constant reminder of what happened to those who threatened humanity. The framework is simple, she replied. Earth makes its own decisions about its own affairs. Anyone who disagrees is welcome to test our resolve again. The aliens had spent months analyzing the battle footage, trying to understand how humanity had achieved such a devastating victory. What they discovered was even more troubling than their military defeat. Human technology was not just advanced, it was completely different from anything the Galactic Council had encountered. Dr. Yun-Ah presented the scientific exchange proposals, each one carefully crafted to benefit Earth while offering minimal advantages to alien civilizations. We are willing to share certain technologies, she said, but only through controlled programs that ensure Earth's security interests are protected. The aliens found this arrangement frustrating, but they had no choice. Every other species had been eager to join galactic civilization as junior partners, learning from older races and finding their place in the cosmic order. Humans seemed perfectly content to remain independent, developing their own solutions. To every challenge, President Taeho addressed the Council through a secure video link, his message broadcast to every member world simultaneously. The age of species being told what they can and cannot do by self-appointed galactic authorities is over, he announced. Earth will forge its own path among the stars. The negotiations revealed the full extent of humanity's new position in galactic politics. The species that had been dismissed as primitive aggressors had established themselves as equals to civilizations that were millions of years old. The psychological impact was staggering. Admiral Han Sol provided military demonstrations during the diplomatic talks. Human ships appeared and disappeared around alien vessels without being detected. Weapons systems locked onto targets before alien sensors knew they were there. Tactical displays showed the complete helplessness of alien defenses against human technology. The Treaty of Sol was signed after 3 months of negotiations. The document established humanity as an independent power with rights equal to any council member. But the real agreement was unstated and understood by everyone involved. Earth could not be conquered, controlled, or intimidated. The alien delegates, who returned to their homeworlds, carried a message that would reshape galactic politics. The species that had assumed they were the galaxy's natural leaders had encountered something they never imagined, a civilization that refused to be led by anyone. Captain Sujin now commanded a fleet of human ships that patrolled the edges of the solar system. Her vessels were visible reminders that Earth was protected by military forces that alien technology could not match. The psychological effect was exactly what human strategists had intended. The galaxy had learned new rules. Rules written in the debris of alien warships and enforced by a species that had built their entire civilization around the principle that freedom was worth fighting. For the Galactic Council discovered that humans were very, very good at fighting. Dr. Kyung Ho established research programs that studied alien technology, but always from a position of strength. Human scientists learned what they wanted to learn and ignored what they considered irrelevant. The relationship was completely different from what the Council had experienced with other species. The final message that Earth sent to the galaxy was delivered through actions, rather than words. Human. Exploration ships began appearing in distant star systems not as conquerors but as equals. The species that had been threatened with protective custody was now exploring the galaxy on its own terms. 6 months after receiving an ultimatum to surrender, Earth had established itself as one of the most powerful civilizations in known space. The aliens who had expected to find primitive creatures begging for guidance had instead awakened the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. The Galactic Council had learned that there were consequences to underestimating humanity. The age of unquestioned alien authority was over. The age of human independence had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The new rules were simple. Earth belonged to humans, and humans belonged to no one. The species that had never submitted to anyone in their history had proven that some things never change.